And then I kind of cold pitched and sold that show to Radio Disney and was the host of a show on Radio Disney.
You know who made it.
Welcome to Life of a Founder. Our goal here is to give you an inside look at the experiences of small business owners who have started, operated, and grown a business from the ground up. We strongly believe that there's no better way to learn than by listening to the stories of others. So whether you're already an entrepreneur or dreaming of becoming one in the future, we are sure you'll gain valuable insights from every episode. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the man behind the mic, our host, Matthew Sumter.
Hey everyone, welcome to Life of a Founder. My name is Matthew Sumter, and I'm here with Alexa Curtis, the founder of Be Fearless Inc. and the host of the podcast, The New Unfiltered with Alexa Curtis. Before we get started with our conversation, though, would you like to give us one piece of advice for someone who's thinking about starting their own business?
My piece of advice for someone who is looking at starting their own business is to do a decent amount of user interviews. Whatever I think you want to start, you should really know your audience to a T. And I think that comes from a serious amount of experience and knowing who that audience is. So do those interviews. Okay, great. That's a great piece of advice. I mean, you have a very interesting background, how you got started, and what you're doing right now is very different than anything we've kind of had on this show before. So can you give us kind of your history, where you started and what that's led to now and what you're doing now? Yes, I'm honored to be a unique founder on your phenomenal podcast. So I started as a blogger back in 2011 when I was 12, and I built the website out into this full-time lifestyle site for young adults and parents called Life Unfiltered with Alexa. And then through that, I had a podcast. My first one was called This is Life Unfiltered. And then I kind of cold pitched and sold that show to Radio Disney and was the host of a show on Radio Disney. Was a host for Radio Disney called Fearless Every Day with Alexa Curtis. And then while I was at Disney, I decided to start the college summit company called Be Fearless Inc. So now what I do is not only the personal brand side of things in the podcast, but also a lot of different conferences and whatnot for young professionals who are looking to be fearless and get out of their comfort zone. Okay. What's that look like? Are you doing speeches, going out and meeting with people, or are you doing a lot of stuff virtually? How's that work? Yeah. So there will be another Be Fearless Summit in 2024 in the spring, and that'll be in person on the East Coast. Okay. And then a lot of the other stuff that I do is just like content, the podcast. So interviews with those guests, and just a lot of really kind of incredible features with people and whatnot. And then the Be Fearless community kind of itself, there's a Telegram group for all of the girls. So we all kind of keep in touch from there. And so anytime they have questions, there's like a weekly Ask Alexa tab and whatnot. So a lot of conversations with them virtually, and then as much in person as I can do. And is it all kind of free resources, or do you have some sort of monetization through that? That's a good question, which is actually a really interesting point, because I think, a lot of like this personal branding side of things, people are like, the podcast, the website, I don't really do too much one-on-one coaching, but I think a lot of people in this space have been to like make a lot of money from the coaching. Yeah. So I really am able to kind of survive off of like the Be Fearless Summits, and when we do paid partnerships and whatnot, the podcast, the website. I just launched a premium version of my newsletter, Stay Fearless or Die Trying, as well as like monetizing the newsletter. So there's a lot of different like revenue streams that go into it. And so that's how I'm able to monetize it. So what's been the most successful as far as financial so far? What's working the most for you? What's working the most for me has always been the website. I mean, I started as a blogger back in 2011 and I've really been able to monetize that because I've had it around for so long. And then there is a lot of money in the summit company, but I've kind of taken a step back from it to really build it out and understand like the financial model behind it. So now I'm going to change gears a little bit and test out a new model and see if it works. That's kind of intimidating as an entrepreneur, but I'm hoping that, you have to hope, right, that something with it works, even though it's scary to try kind of a different model. But I think that it will work. And so I think that there definitely is a lot to be made in this new division of the company. Awesome. As far as the website, you say you make money on that. Is that mainly just advertising, or is that through other means? Through advertising and then through like sponsored blog posts. So say I'll work with a brand who's like, we'll give you X amount of money to do like a post on, I don't know, our new chair or something like that. So more like integrated ads into the post as well as just sidebar ads.
Okay, perfect. Well, you mentioned Radio Disney, and obviously that's something in your history that's pretty impressive. What was that like? I mean, how'd that go? Did you meet some interesting people?
Yeah. It was such an interesting story because I'm not an actress. So I was able, I cold pitched that show to Disney. I found a producer list online and I really got in the door with them by sending an email, literally saying, this is what I do. I've got a podcast. I've done some TV segments. And I got a response from them saying, if you live in LA, let's take a meeting. And at the time I wasn't living in LA, but I packed up all of my stuff in Boston and I found a place in LA and was able to secure this show over months of back and forth with them. And then I started hosting it and it was called Fearless Every Day with Alexa Curtis. And so it was a mix between Disney stars and a mix between, kind of talent, who were young entrepreneurs. And it was really Disney's first show in the category of bullying and mental health. And I think it's super cool that I was able to get that on my own just by emailing them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did that open up any other doors? Did you meet some people that kind of pushed you in new directions from that?
I met a lot of people. I had the college summit, the Be Fearless Summit idea while I was there. But I think the biggest thing was when you're an entrepreneur, you're going through these motions and I think you're always kind of looking at yourself for this validation. Am I doing good enough? Or you're looking at sales. And for me, that validation after having done it for so long was by this company, Disney, saying, wow, we see something in you. We're going to allow you to essentially use our platform as means to grow your own. Yeah. And so I think that had I not had that show, I don't necessarily know that I would have been able to be taken so seriously in the way that I am now as being an expert in this field of business and startups and entrepreneurship because I got such a big yes.
Yeah, that's great. So you told us that you started back when you were 11, is that right?
12.
Or 12. Okay, close. 12. Have you ever had a traditional job? Did you work a normal job? No.
I never had a traditional job.
Never? Okay.
Never.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be so cool to be a bartender or barista, and I just never did it. I haven't done it yet.
Is that something did that come from your family that encouraged you to do something like that? Did you grow up in that environment or what? What?
Did I grow up in the environment with money? No.
Well, no. I just...
No, but literally, I always ask people, who someone must have helped you do this because it doesn't really make any sense. And that's why I think my career and my life is really so unique is because literally I had nothing. I grew up with no money. I grew up with no connections. There was no one. My parents literally sometimes still to this day are like, are you sure you don't want a job? Are you sure you don't want to go to college? Because most of the time I'm like, I'm talking to my mom and I'm like, this is insane. This is so crazy. This is so hard because it is. So no, they did not in any capacity help elevate my career. Sometimes I wish they had, but I also think a lot of my story and hopefully what inspires people is the fact that I've really built this on my own and just won't stop until I'm at a point where I feel proud enough of myself that I've been able to do it.
Do you outsource any of your work? Do you have helpers or is this as far as a business, are you totally on your own?
So I have 2 employees. And then I have mostly freelancers who help the podcast production as well as the all my video content. I don't edit myself. And so it's slowly expanded, I guess, from solopreneur to more of a team. And I think that's because my business is a bit different where I don't like to call myself a traditional, say, influencer, content creator. This whole Be Fearless Summit, this whole company has legs to it and perhaps could even be a company one day that needs to raise money and stuff. And so I've outsourced a lot of that to help build that while I can focus on what pays my bills, which is right now the personal brand.
And you mentioned outsourcing editing, and I've been saying that's the first thing I'll outsource once I'm making some income because I can do a 30-minute interview then spend 3 hours editing it.
I know.
I'm done with that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The cool thing is you can find people on Fiverr who will literally edit an interview for $15, $20.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's crazy. That's why, you want to do the podcast, you want to do a newsletter. And I tell people this isn't going to make you a lot of money. up front at least. So you better be
yeah.
this for the long game.
And speaking of that, your podcast, you've been around, was that several years now? You have 150-ish episodes.
Yeah. And I've deleted a lot. I was actually closer to 200. I deleted a lot. And I also took a very long break during and after Disney from it. But now I'm kind of full force back into it.
Yeah. I hear a lot of those overnight success stories that, took years and years to build up. So,
I know.
Yeah. All right. So you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but what are your future plans for the company? Where do you see it going?
I see Be Fearless as really being a resource, not only with the community, but also the in-person element for young professional people to be able to go to, not only to find a mentor, but also really to find a friend. And so I view my personal brand simultaneously. The more that I can keep building that, the more that I'm able to bring traffic to Be Fearless for events, for people buying tickets. And so I definitely see it as a scalable company. And I look forward to it ending up that way because I don't want to ever be someone who at 30, 40, 50 is posting all day on the internet to pay her bills.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to me to be more involved in the tech side to create something that in a sense can run on its own in the future.
Great. Let's get a little personal. Do you have any unusual hobbies?
Any unusual hobbies? Let me think.
Or any hobbies that people just don't know about?
Oh, any hobbies people don't know about? I'm trying to think.
Well, what do you do for fun outside of your business when you have free time? Do you have free time?
Yeah. No, I'm big. Yeah. I'm a big advocate of free time. Actually, I have one that I watch a lot of TV when I can. To me, watching TV, I love to read. I have a great morning routine, but I love crime shows. I don't think watching TV is bad, especially with the amount of, being an entrepreneur, you have to be so engaged and so on. And to me, TV is mindless. Yeah. And sometimes I think it's really effing important to just literally have something totally SVU. I'm a big Law and Order person. That gets me so out of my head. So I love watching TV. I mean, I love to travel. I love to cook. I'm a big advocate for working out. Yeah. What else? Cool. I'm really big into interior design. So I just love designing stuff. And yeah, I'm really into improv too. So.
Oh, nice. Comedy?
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Do you go down to a club, do shows or anything like that?
So I haven't started doing shows, though I want to in the fall. But there is a comedy club called UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade. It's actually, I think Amy Poehler and Tina Fey's comedy club in LA, and I go to that.
Gotcha. Oh, very nice. All right. So as a lifelong entrepreneur, I'm sure you have some other ideas. Are there things that you haven't pursued that maybe are kind of on the side of your mind, things that would be good ideas for other people, perhaps?
Yeah, actually, I have one that I'm convinced is $1 billion idea, but I haven't had the time to pursue it, so I won't tell you that one. However, I am really interested in the CPG space. I think ultimately, if I could build Be Fearless up, I would love to enter CPG in some capacity. So I really like that space. Let's see. I think also there's a lot of possibility in spaces where you're basically finding and taking companies that already exist on, say, Amazon and just redoing it. Super simple things there's nipple covers, right? Girls wear. I mean, my friend, literally, she's she was I just bought from China 500 of them. I'm going to see if I can sell them on Amazon and make more money. I think there's a lot of possibility in that. There's a lot of just such random things. I mean, cleaning supplies and water bottles and things like that. So I'm kind of interested. If I had more play around money, I think I would try and see if any of those could just end up making so much money.
I've definitely heard success stories very similar to that. Filling their garage with some 10-cent item and selling it for $10 here. So
I know, right? That's why. And I mean, especially on Reddit, there's so many of those kind of threads.
Yeah.
So that, and then, definitely would say most of my ideas are in the food space.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always thought it'd be fun to be a chef, but doesn't make enough unless you're a celebrity, right? So
I know.
Yeah. But I still enjoy that as well.
Agreed.
All right. Well, you ready for a couple rapid fire questions? All right. First thing comes to your mind. Favorite month?
October.
All right. Favorite vacation destination?
Istanbul.
Okay. Interesting. You've been there?
My sister lives there.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to not think. So it's like the first thing that comes to my mind. But now that I've thought, I probably could give you another one. But the first thing that came to my mind was Turkey.
That works. What's a 4-letter word that starts with J?
John?
Oh, that's a word, yeah. A night in or a night out?
In.
And do aliens exist?
Yes.
Yes, they do. In what form?
I don't know, but I watch way too many documentaries on this stuff.
How can people find out more about you and your businesses? We've mentioned some of them, but what's the best way to find all of it?
Yeah, so you can follow me on social media. It's at Alexa_Curtis on Instagram and Alexa Curtis Unfiltered on TikTok. And then my website is BeFearlessSummit.org. So all the next Be Fearless events and whatnot, you'll see listed there. And same for the Instagram for the Be Fearless as well as there. And then the new Unfiltered goes out, which is my podcast, every Wednesday.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that you want to leave with the listeners or mention?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks for being with us. That's great.
Thank you
Good to
so
meet
much
you.
for having me.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to Life of a Founder. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. And if you have any friends or family members who would enjoy the show, please share the link with them. We truly believe that small businesses are the lifeblood of our communities, so we encourage you to take that first step and start your journey toward business ownership.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take this opportunity to personally thank you for listening and sharing my show with others. If that's all you ever do, that's perfectly fine. You may have noticed that we don't currently have advertising on our shows, and as of now, I haven't made a penny for the hours I've poured into the show. So if you'd like to do more to support this show, you can visit the website at lifeofafounder.com/support, where there are a few opportunities to support me. Once again, thanks for listening.